Hi, I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math, and today we're learning about dividing polynomials.
Minute Math, when you need help you use Minute Math.
We're given this problem right here, m squared minus 7m minus 11 divided by m minus 8, and we need to divide this. Well, let's do some synthetic division. So we set up our synthetic division right here. Okay, and we're looking at the coefficients of the first part. 1 in front of the m squared, negative 7 in front of the m, and then negative 11 right there. Now we're looking at this part right here, and we see a negative 8, so we have m minus an 8, so we're going to put a positive 8 opposite of that right here. Okay? Alright, let's follow our steps for synthetic division. Bring the 1 down, got it right there. 8 times 1 is 8. We add the 2, negative 7 plus 8 is a positive 1. And then 8 times 1 is a positive 8 again. Negative 11 plus 8 is a negative 3. And this is going to be our remainder. So how do we translate that to an answer here? Well, we're dividing m squared by an m. And so this is going to be actually the coefficient. M squared divided by m is just an m. So we start with an m here, and we go down the line from there. So the first one is 1m, so we just write one of them, plus, now we're at the numbers, 1, minus the remainder, 3, over what we're dividing it by, m minus 8, and there's our answer. M plus 1 minus 3 divided by m minus 8. We're given this problem right here, n squared minus n minus 29 divided by n minus 6, and we need to simplify this. Well, we're going to use synthetic division here. So I start with my first part, n squared minus n minus 29, and we're looking at the coefficients. We have a 1 in front of the n squared, negative 1 in front of the n, and then lastly a negative 29. We're then going to look at the n minus 6, and we'll do the opposite of minus 6 and make it a positive 6. Okay? So now we can start our synthetic division. Bring down the 1 right here. 6 times 1 is a 6. Negative 1 plus 6 is a positive 5. 6 times 5 now goes right here, which is 30. And negative 29 plus 30 is a positive 1. And this positive 1 is our remainder. So now we have the information, we need to translate it back into our variables. We have an n squared divided by an n, so we're going to start with just 1n. That's a coefficient right here, 1n, so we're going to write one of them here. Then we're going to add a 5, plus our remainder, which is 1, over what's left over here, n minus 6. And so there we have it. N plus 5 plus 1 divided by n minus 6 is our final answer. We're given this expression, n squared plus 10n plus 18 divided by n plus 5, and we need to divide this. Well, let's use synthetic division here. I'm going to set it up. We look at the coefficients of our first part. What's in front of the n squared is a 1, in front of the n is a 10, and in front of the 18, well, it's just the 18. Now we look at the other part, n plus 5. Well, we have a positive 5, so we're going to be opposite of that, negative 5. So put a negative 5 right here. And now we're going to do synthetic division. We bring down the 1, and now we multiply. Negative 5 times 1, negative 5 right there. 10 plus a negative 5 is a positive 5. Now we multiply negative 5 times 5 again, and we get a negative 25. And 18 plus a negative 25 is a negative 7. And that's our remainder. So let's translate that to our answer. Well, n squared divided by one of the n's gives us the highest power of n to the first power. And that's where we start right here. So we have 1n, let's write the n, plus, going down the line, a 5, minus our remainder, 7, over what we're dividing it by, n plus 5, and that's it. Our final answer is n plus 5 minus 7 divided by n plus 5. We're given this problem right here, k squared minus 7k plus 10 divided by k minus 1, and we need to divide this. Well, I'm going to use synthetic division here. So, let's set it up. Look at the coefficients of our first part. What's in front of k squared is a 1, in front of a k is a negative 7, and the last constant is just a 10. Now I have my k minus 1, so it's a minus 1. I'm going to put a positive 1 out here. Make it opposite. Now we do synthetic division. Bring down this 1 first. Then 1 times 1 is, well, 1. Negative 7 plus 1 is a negative 6. And now 1 times a negative 6 is a negative 6 here. 10 plus a negative 6 is a positive 4, and there is our remainder. So now let's translate this into our final answer. Well, k squared divided by 1k leaves us with just k to the first power, so that goes with our first coefficient of 1. So we're left with just k, 1k. Then we have a minus 6 plus our remainder, which is 4, over what we're dividing it by, k minus 1. And so k minus 6 plus 4 over k minus 1 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, n squared minus 3n minus 21, and it's divided by n minus 7, and we need to divide this. Well, let's do some synthetic division, so let's set that up here. Look at the coefficients of our first part. In front of the n squared is a 1, in front of n is minus 3, and last part's just a negative 21. I now have n minus 7. Opposite of that minus 7 is a positive 7. So I'm going to put that here. Now let's do some synthetic division. Bring down the 1. 7 times 1 is, well, 7. Negative 3 plus 7 is a positive 4. 7 times 4 is 28. And negative 21 plus 28 is a positive 7. And that is our remainder. So now let's translate this to our answer. Well, n squared divided by 1n is just going to be left with n to the first power. So that is a coefficient in front of there. So we just write really just 1n. Then we have plus 4 here. That's what's next down the line. Plus our remainder, which is 7, divided by, well, what we were dividing by, n minus 7. And there we have it. N plus 4 plus 7 divided by n minus 7 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, a squared minus 28 divided by a minus 5, and we need to divide this. Well, let's use synthetic division. We have to be careful. Okay? Well, let's set it up here. Coefficient in front of a squared is a 1. We don't have an a written, but it needs to have a place value here. So that's going to be a 0a inside of here. Then we can put the minus 28. Be careful. If you forget that 0, the whole thing will be wrong. We have a minus 5 we're dividing it by. So opposite of minus 5 is a positive 5. And now we're set up to do division, or synthetic division. Bring down the 1, and 5 times 1 is 5. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. And negative 28 plus 5 is a negative 3, and that's our remainder. So now let's use this and break it back into here, okay? And what do we want to do? Well, a squared divided by a becomes a to the first power, and that lines up, or that's going to be, this 1 is the coefficient of that. So a to the first power is just a, coefficient of 1, don't need to write that. Going down the line, we just have our constants, so we have plus a 5. Then we have a remainder minus 3. So minus 3 divided by what we were dividing it by, a minus 5, right here. And so there's our final answer, a plus 5 minus 3 over a minus 5. We're given this problem right here, r squared plus 14r plus 38 divided by r plus 8. And we need to simplify this. Well, we're first going to use synthetic division, so let's set that up. Look at the coefficients of our first part. In front of the r squared we have a 1. In front of the r we have a 14. And the last part is just 38. Now we look at the r plus 8. Opposite of plus 8 is a negative 8. So we put a negative 8 right here. Now we can do our synthetic division. Bring down the 1 right here. Negative 8 times 1, well, negative 8. 14 plus a negative 8 is a positive 6. Negative 8 times 6 is a negative 48. Now we add 38 plus a negative 48, which is negative 10. And that's our remainder. So how does this apply? R squared divided by r is r to the first power. This 1's that coefficient, so we just write 1r. Then we add a 6 going down the line. Then minus our remainder, minus 10, over what we're dividing by, r plus 8. And so r plus 6 minus 10 over r plus 8 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, x squared plus 5x plus 3 divided by x plus 6, and we need to simplify. Well, we're given this. Well, we want to write this in actually synthetic division. Look at our coefficients. In front of an x squared is a 1, in front of an x is a 5, and in front, well, just a 3. We have x plus 6. Opposite of plus 6 is a minus 6. So minus 6 goes here. Now we can apply synthetic division. Bring down the 1. Negative 6 times 1 is a negative 6. 5 plus a negative 6, negative 1. Negative 6 times a negative 1 is a positive 6. Add the 2. 3 plus positive 6 is a positive 9. And that's our remainder. So now, x squared divided by an x is just going to be x to the first power. This one's that coefficient. So we have x to the first power here, okay, and one of them, minus that one, plus our remainder 9 over x plus 6, what we're dividing it by. And so x minus 1 plus 9 divided by x plus 6 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 2x squared minus 17x minus 38 divided by 2x plus 3, and we need to divide these. Well, let's do some long division. So let's set this up. Let's get it. This part goes in the inside now. So let's go write that here. And we have 2x squared minus 17x minus 38. And we're taking the 2x plus 3 and we'll put it out here. Just like you would normally long divide. Okay. Now, what number here, or what times 2x gets me 2x squared? And that's just going to be an x. So I'm going to put the place value over the x value here. X times 2x is a 2x squared. X times a 3 is a positive 3x. We're now going to take all that and subtract down from up top. 2x squareds cancel, and that was the whole point of setting that up. Negative 17x plus 3x is a negative 20x. We're now going to bring down the negative 38, and we're going to do this process again. What times 2x gets me a negative 20x, and that's a negative 10. Negative 10 times 2x is a negative 20x. Negative 10 times 3 is a negative 30. And be careful now with your negatives. We're subtracting all of that from what's up top. Negative 20x minus a negative 20x is plus a positive 20x. They cancel, and that was the point. Negative 38 minus a negative 30 is like adding a positive 30. So you do like plus a positive if you want, like right here. Negative 38 plus 30 is a negative 8, and that's our remainder. So we're going to translate this to our answer. The x minus 10 goes right here. Then we have a minus 8 over what we were dividing by, 2x plus 3. And there's our final answer, x minus 10 minus 8 divided by 2x plus 3. We're given this problem right here, 42x squared minus 33 divided by 7x plus 7, and we need to divide these two. Well, let's go set up some long division. We'll start with the first part. It's going to go inside here, 42x squared, but notice there's no x value. It just jumps to minus 33. So we're going to put a plus 0x here. It's important to have that place value. Then we can put a minus 33. is being divided by 7x plus 7. Put that out here. All right. Now we ask ourselves, what times 7x gets us 42x squared? And that's going to be a 6x. 6x times 7x is 42x squared. 6x times 7 is just, well, 42x. We're now going to take that whole thing and we're subtracting it. 42x squared minus 42x squared, well, that's 0. They cancel. That was the point. 0 minus a 42x squared is a minus 42. 0 minus 42x is a minus 42x. Bring down the minus 33. And now we need to do it again. What times 7x gets us a negative 42x, and it's a negative 6. Negative 6 times 7x is a negative 42x. Negative 6 times a positive 7 is a negative 42. We're now subtracting all of that from what's above it. Negative 42x minus a negative is like adding a positive, cancels it out. Same thing here. Negative 33 minus a negative is like adding a positive, 42. Negative 33 plus 42 is a positive 9, and that is our remainder. So let's translate this to our answer. Bring this down, 6x minus 6 here. Then we want to add our remainder, 9, over what we're dividing it by, 7x plus 7. And there we have it. 6x minus 6 plus 9 over 7x plus 7 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, x squared minus 74 divided by x minus 8, and we need to divide this. Well, let's go set up synthetic division here. We look at the first part. What's in front of x squared is a 1. That's its coefficient. We don't have an x value there, so we put a 0 in its place. Then we can go to the negative 74. Don't forget that 0 is very important. We have x minus 8. Opposite of minus 8 is a positive 8. Now we're set up to divide synthetically. Bring down the 1. 8 now times 1 is an 8. Add the 2 together. 0 plus 8 is a positive 8. 8 times 8 is 64. And negative 74 plus 64 is a negative 10. And that's our remainder. Well, x squared divided by x is x to the first power, and so this 1 is that's coefficient. So we just have 1x right there. Then we add the 8 minus the 10, the remainder, over what we're dividing it by, x minus 8. And so x plus 8 minus 10 divided by x minus 8 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 2p squared plus 7p minus 39 divided by 2p minus 7. We need to divide this. Well, let's go set up long division here. We put this part in, 2p squared plus 7p minus 39. Now this 2p minus 7 can go out here. 2p minus 7. All right. So now we have to ask ourselves, what times 2p gets me 2p squared? And that's just a p. P times 2p, 2p squared. P times a minus 7 is a minus 7p. We're now going to subtract that whole thing from what's up top. 2p squared minus 2p, well, or 2p squared is the same thing, they cancel. 7p, now be careful here, 7p minus a negative or plus a positive 7p is a 14p. We bring down the minus 39. Now we have 14p minus 39, and we do the same thing. What times 2p gets me 14p? That's a 7, positive 7. 7 times 2p is a 14p. 7 times a negative 7, well, is a negative 49. Now we're subtracting the top and the bottom. 14p minus 14p cancels out at 0. Negative 39 minus a negative was like plus a positive. So negative 39 plus a 49 is a positive 10, and that's our remainder. So now let's bring to our final answer here. Bring down the p plus 7. We have a remainder, positive 10, divided by what we had divided by, which is 2p minus 7. And there we have it. P plus 7 plus 10 over 2p minus 7 is our final answer. But given this problem right here, n to the third power plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3 divided by n plus 2, and we need to divide these. Well, let's use synthetic division. Let's set that up here. We look at the coefficients of our first part. In front of the n squared, or n to the third is a 1. Then we have 7 in front of the n squared, 14 here in front of the n, and last thing is a 3. Now we have n plus 2. Opposite of that plus 2 is a minus 2. Put a minus 2 out here. Now we're set up to divide synthetically. Bring down the 1. Negative 2 times 1 is a negative 2. Add the 2. 7 plus a negative 2 is a 5. Negative 2 times 5 is, well, a negative 10. 14 plus a negative 10 is a positive 4. Negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8. 3 plus a negative 8 is a negative 5, and that's our remainder. N squared, or n to the third, sorry, divided by n is an n squared, and that's our first value. We have n squared, its coefficient is 1, that goes right here, don't need to write that. Then we add the next part, plus a 5n going down by exponent values, so squared to the first power. Then lastly, we have just a number 4. Well, not really lastly, we have the remainder. We need to subtract a 5, and it's being divided by that n plus 2. And so n squared plus 5n plus 4 minus 5 divided by n plus 2 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, p to the third minus 10p squared plus 20p plus 26 divided by p minus 5. We need to divide this. So let's use some synthetic division. So let's set that up here. Look at the coefficients. In front of p to the third is just a 1. In front of p squared, negative 10. In front of p is a 20. And then we just have a 26. We're divided by p minus 5. Opposite of minus 5, positive 5. So put that positive 5 right there. Now we're set up. We can divide synthetically. Bring down the 1. 5 times 1 is 5. 5, or negative 10 plus 5 is a negative 5. 5 times a negative 5 is a negative 25. 20 plus a negative 25 is a negative 5. And 5 times a negative 25, or negative 5, again, is a negative 25. Add the 2. 26 plus a negative 25 is a 1. And so now we're set up here where we can, well, get to our answer. P to the third divided by p is a p squared. This 1 is that coefficient for the p squared. Don't need to write it. Now we're going to work our way down. Minus the 5. We count down, so instead of p squared, we have p to the first power. Don't need to write the 1. Then we have a minus 5 left over here. Then, from there, we have the remainder, which is a 1. We add a 1 over, we're divided by p minus 5 here. And that's it. P squared minus 5p minus 5 plus 1 over p minus 5 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here. V to the third minus 2v squared minus 14v minus 5 divided by v plus 3. And we need to divide these two. Well, let's use synthetic division here. So let's set it up. Look at our coefficients. In front of the v to the third, we just have a 1. In front of the v squared, minus 2. In front of the v, minus 14. And the last part, a negative 5. We have a v plus 3 right there. So opposite of a plus 3 is a minus 3. Don't forget that. Put a minus 3 right there. Now we're set up to divide synthetically. Bring down the 1. Negative 3 times 1, negative 3. Negative 2 plus a negative 3, negative 5. Negative 3 times a negative 5 is a positive 15. Negative 14 plus 15, positive 1. Negative 3 times 1 is a negative 3. And negative 5 plus a negative 3 is a negative 8. And there is our remainder. So now let's go apply this to how we're going to write our final answer here. V to the third divided by V was a V squared. So this 1 is the coefficient in front of the V squared. And now we're counting down. We have a minus 5. V now to the first power, don't need to write that, plus, well, just the number 1, subtracted by a remainder 8 divided by V plus 3. And so there we have our answer. V squared minus 5V plus 1 minus 8 divided by V plus 3. We're given this problem right here. X to the third minus 13x squared plus 40x plus 18 divided by x minus 7. And we need to divide this. Well, let's go with synthetic division here. We're going to look at the coefficients of our first part. In front of x to the third is a 1. X squared in front of that is a negative 13. In front of x is a 40. And lastly, we have an 18 here. Now we have an x minus 7. Opposite of subtracting 7, positive 7. Right there. Okay. Now we can divide synthetically. Bring down the 1. And 7 times 1 is a 7. Negative 13 plus a 7 is a negative 6 there. 7 times a negative 6 is a negative 42. 40 plus a negative 42, negative 2. 7 times a negative 2 is a negative 14. And now 18 plus a negative 14 is a positive 4. And that is our remainder. So now let's go apply this here to our final answer. X to the third divided by x is x squared. And this 1 is a coefficient in front of x squared. We subtract a 6, we bring down the exponent value by 1, and so we have x to the first power now, which is just x. Do it again, we have minus 2, x to the 0 power, don't write that, just minus 2. Plus the remainder, which is 4 over, don't forget the x minus 7. And so here we have our final answer. X squared minus 6x minus 2 plus 4 divided by x minus 6. We're given this problem right here. K to the third minus 30k minus 18 minus 4k squared divided by 3 plus k. And we need to divide this. Well, first thing I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to, well, rearrange this and that to, well, be in order. I have a minus 4k, or sorry, highest power is k to the third, so that stays here first. But then we have a minus 4k squared, so I'm going to put that next, minus 4k squared. And then we have our minus 30k. Then we have the minus, well, 18. We're going to do the same thing with the second part here. 3 plus k is the same thing as k plus 3. And that little step helps us really set up the next part more easily. We have to do some synthetic division. So let's go set that up. Look at the coefficients. In front of k to the third is just a 1. In front of the k squared is a negative 4. Negative 30 in front of the k value. And then negative 18. We have a k plus 3. Opposite of plus 3 is a minus 3. So we put a minus 3 right here. Okay? Now we can divide synthetically. Bring down the 1. And negative 3 times 1 is a negative 3. Negative 4 plus a negative 3, negative 7. Negative 3 times a negative 7 is a positive 21. Negative 30 plus 21 is a negative 9. And negative 3 times a negative 9 is a positive 27. Negative 18 plus 27 is a positive 9. And that's our remainder. So now, how do we apply this to really be our final answer? Well, k to the third divided by k gives us that k squared. This 1 is a coefficient in front of the k squared. Now we go down, we have a minus 7, and then k squared, subtract the exponent by 1, we have a k. Then we have a minus 9 here. Same thing, k to the first power, minus 1 is k to the 0, don't need to write that, so minus 9. Our remainder is plus a 9, positive 9, divided by, that k plus 3. Or if we want to go back to our original, we can write it as a 3 plus k. And there we actually have our final answer. K squared minus 7k minus 9 plus 9 over 3 plus k. We're given this problem here, negative 5k squared plus k to the third power plus 8k plus 4 divided by negative 1 plus k. And we need to divide this. Well, first I'm going to rearrange both parts here to have our highest order first. Highest order is k to the third power. Then we have a minus 5k squared. Then we have the 8k, then the 4. Okay? Make sure I just did it all. Alright, now we're dividing by, same thing I'm going to do over here. I'm going to rearrange this 1 minus k to be, well, k, or negative 1 plus k, sorry, to be k minus 1. So the same thing. Now I have it like this. It's easy to synthetically divide this. So let's go set that up. Look at the coefficients in front of the first part. In front of the k to the third power is a 1. In front of the k squared is a negative 5. In front of the k is an 8. And then we have a 4. Lastly, we have a k minus 1. Opposite of minus 1 is a positive 1. Okay. Now we can divide synthetically. Bring down a 1 here. And now 1 times 1 is always tricky. 1. Negative 5 plus 1 is a negative 4. 1 times a negative 4 is a negative 4. 8 plus a negative 4 is a positive 4. 1 times a positive 4 is a positive 4. And 4 plus 4 is 8. And that's our remainder. So now let's go set this up using these numbers. Well, k to the third divided by k is that k squared. This one is a coefficient in front of k squared. Don't need to write that. We then have a minus 4, next one down the line, and subtract the exponent by 1, so we just have a k. Same thing here, we add a 4, and then k to the first power, we subtract the exponent by 1, k to the 0 power, don't write it, we just have the 4. And then we have our remainder, which is just a positive 8, and we're dividing that, let's go by the original thing we're dividing by, negative 1 plus k. And so our final answer is k squared minus 4k plus 4 plus 8 divided by negative 1 plus k. We're given this problem right here. X to the third plus 5x squared minus 32x minus 7 divided by x minus 4. And we need to divide this. Well, let's first look at synthetic division. We can do that here. So let's set that up. Look at the coefficients. In front of the x to the third power, we have a 1. In front of the x squared, we have a 5. In front of the x, we have a negative 32. And lastly, we have a minus 7. Now, we're dividing by x minus 4. Opposite of minus 4 is a positive 4. So now it's all set up to divide. Bring down the 1. And 4 times 1 is, well, 4. 5 plus 4 is a 9. And 4 times 9 is 36. Negative 32 plus 36 is a positive 4. 4 times a 4 is a positive 16. Negative 7 plus 16 is a positive 9. And that's our remainder. So now let's go up, apply this to our answer. X to the third divided by x is an x squared. This 1 is a coefficient in front of the x squared. Now we go down the line. We have a 9 plus a 9 here, and next one down is an x plus a 4. No more x's needed. Then we have a positive 9, so we plus a 9. That's the remainder divided by what we're dividing here, x minus 4, and there we have it, our final answer, x squared plus 9x plus 4 plus 9 divided by x minus 4. We're given this problem right here, 50k to the third power plus 10k squared minus 35k minus 7 divided by 5k minus 4, and we need to divide this. So let's go do some long division here. Let's set it up. Okay, we're going to put this on the inside. 50k to the third plus 10k squared minus 35k minus 7. Okay, And we're dividing that by 5k minus 4. So we can put that here. 5k minus 4. So now we have to ask ourselves a few questions. What number times 5k gets me 50k to the third power? And that's going to be a 10k squared. 10k squared times 5k is that 50k to the third power. 10k squared, now multiplied by both parts, 10k squared times a negative 4 is a negative 40k squared. Now we're going to subtract the whole thing. Don't forget, we're subtracting the whole thing. 50k to the third minus 50k to the third cancels out like it should have. 10k squared minus a negative 40k squared, or plus a positive 40k squared, that comes out to be a positive 50k squared. And so now we're going to do the same thing again. What times 5k gets me 50k squared? And that's just a 10k. A lot of 10s here. 10k times 5k is that 50k squared. Almost forgot. Bring down the minus 35k. Oof. If you notice I forgot that, let me know down below. But I caught it, so we're good. So again, 10k times 5k is 50k squared. 10k times the minus 4 is a minus 40k. Now we're going to subtract the 2. The whole thing, don't forget. 50k squared minus 50k squared, that should cancel, and then you know you're on the right track. Negative 35k minus a negative 40k, or plus a positive 40k, comes out to be a positive 5k. This time I won't forget to bring down the minus 7. So we have 5k minus 7, and again, we're going to do the same thing. What times 5k gets me 5k, and that's just a positive 1. 1 times 5k is 5k. 1 times a negative 4 is a negative 4. Now you've been good with your negatives the whole time. Don't mess it up now. We're minusing the whole thing in parentheses. 5k minus 5k is just 0, cancels out. We're good. Negative 7 minus a negative 4 is like adding a positive 4 right here. So negative 7 plus a positive 4 is a negative 3. And that's my remainder, if I can write it here. Woof. That's a 3. All right. Or minus 3. So how can we apply this? Well, let's bring down the first part. 10k squared plus 10k plus 1. And then our remainder is minus 3. So we have minus 3 over what we're dividing by here, 5k minus 4. And there we have our final answer. 10k squared plus 10k plus 1 minus 3 divided by 5k minus 4. Hope this video was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video. This helps us make more free math lessons for you and for everyone else. So as always, thanks for watching.
Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. Minute Math. Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com.